and retirement savings. Learn more at beaplanner.com and listen to The Be a Planner Show with Nathan Ross, CPA, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on Money Radio, 1510 and 105.3 FM.
The views expressed on the following program do not necessarily reflect the views of Money Radio staff, management, or advertisers, and do not represent an offer to buy or sell any securities. Some interviews heard on this program may be sponsored by the participants.
How bad can I be? I'm just doing what comes naturally. How bad can I be? How bad can I possibly be?
Welcome to Your Health is Wealth, giving you the keys to unlocking better health naturally. Today, you'll learn about how to bank wisdom for a fuller, richer life. Your hosts are Dr. Stephen Katz, an award-winning naturopathic doctor and former president of the Arizona Naturopathic Medical Association. Also, Dr. Lorena Ryder, naturopathic doctor and current board member of the Arizona Naturopathic Medical Association.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Your Health is Wealth here on Money Radio, 1510 AM, 105.3 FM. I'm your host, Dr. Stephen Katz, alongside my co-host, Dr. Lorena Ryder. We're here each and every week to help you on your journey to wellness, but we like to do it simply without all of that horrible medical terminology that everybody hates. We're here to provide practical solutions for your health issues to allow your body's healing systems to do the work for you. It's simple, it's natural, and it works. If you're struggling with your health, you can come see us at Naturopathic Physicians Group to help get your life back.
Dr. Ryder here. You can text us live on the show if you have any questions at 803-998-1510. We are also live streaming on YouTube. So more than just radio and hearing our voices, you can see our faces now. Topic of the day today. What, do you have something to say about that?
I don't know.
Okay.
Text us and let us know what you think of our face.
You could do that.
No, that might determine whether or not we keep doing the
Right.
YouTube.
Topic of the day today. We are continuing a stress management from a previous episode. So this is stress management part 2. April is Stress Awareness Month as well as Mental Health Awareness Month. So we will be finishing up the stress portion of that. We're going to just review what stress is, how it affects us. Pretty much a lot of people know, but there might be some surprising things in here. And then we will elaborate into the naturopathic methods of treating stress-related conditions.
And before we jump into that, did you realize we've been doing this for 2 years already?
Really?
Yeah.
Boy, time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. 2 years this month. And we might actually get good one day. As of now, we're just going to, keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
So what are the physical symptoms of stress? Again, we're going to go over these briefly just because we had a whole episode talking a lot about this last week. But again, irritability. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Okay. See, I'm going to be irritable because I can't say the word right. Angry, impatient, if you're overburdened, overwhelmed, just that feeling of anxious, racing thoughts versus leaving your house is difficult. All these things bring a physical stress, which then can lead to depression, not being interested in doing anything in your life. That impending doom or sense of dread, all of these things can be, leading to stressful symptoms.
Mm-hmm. If you have lost your sense of humor, not only is that sad, but that is a symptom of stress overload. So
I haven't lost my sense of humor. I'm just told I'm not funny.
There's a difference.
Or they say I am not as funny as I think I am. That's what I get more often than
That's
not.
okay. As long as you think you're funny and you're having a good time with it, that's okay.
What matters?
Yeah.
In my little bubble, I'm the funniest person I know.
Your
turn.
Yeah. If you're feeling lonely or if you already have a mental health issue or a diagnosed problem and it's getting worse, that's a sign that you're under stress overload as well.
And we're going to briefly touch on what are the top causes of stress. We talked a lot more about this last time, but just to rehash, since this is a two-part segment or a two-part show, finances, money is the number one reason why people feel stress. It's also one of the biggest reasons why people get divorced, as family is the number 3 most common cause of stress. And in between, it is your work. So work, family, money.
I mean, the 3 most important things in life, probably.
Well, In which order? I'm going to get into a family number one, far and away. I love my family. But not being able to provide for your family or take care of your family is a major stressor. Putting too much on your plate, and I don't mean bad junk food. I'm talking about activities. If you have, how many times have we said not enough hours in a day to get everything completed? That is the number 4 most common cause of stress, according to the surveys.
Yeah. It's funny when we take a look over this list, I'm like, this is just life. I mean, these are life things. There's romantic relationship, chronic illness or injury. Most of us have had an injury at some point in our lives. PTSD from a traumatic event. Trauma can be part of life. Having, friends that might stress you out from time to time. Children that, I don't know if I said romantic relationship or not, but this is just life. So life can be stressful. It can be good stress, but there can also be bad stress, but which is what we covered in the first episode as well.
Yeah, and we briefly touched in last time about the types of testing you can do for this. One of the big tests that most doctors don't think about when they're thinking stress, because most doctors are thinking mental, emotional, let's go see a psychiatrist or a psychologist, but oftentimes it's your hormones. And testing for hormones is a huge controller of how your body handles stress. Your cortisol, which is your stress hormone, which I know you'll talk more about later, but the cortisol is your body's stress hormone. It's made by your adrenal glands. It's a hormone. If your cortisol's not working properly, your body can't handle the stress in front of it, or you feel wired in the process. So, testing other hormones, though, when women go into menopause and their estrogen starts to, I won't say tank because it's not their fault, but I said it anyway. But when their estrogen starts to deplete, is that better than tank?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times I say, wow, it's in the toilet. So,
in the toilet, hormones in the toilet. I like that. Cool. All right. So when the hormones are in the toilet, it can also cause issues. And then flip it on to the male side. If their testosterone declines, which generally for most people starts in their 30s, they start having issues like erectile dysfunction, or which then causes mental, emotional stress, which makes the erectile dysfunction worse. So again, all of these things you can test through hormones, and you have to properly test through hormones in order to improve that.
Yeah, one of the biggest things I see with hormones that are going down the toilet is people feel unmotivated. They feel stress because their body just isn't working optimally. And it's almost like they don't have the bandwidth to take care of everything that needs to be taken care of, which makes them feel overwhelmed, which then is a stress overload.
Yeah, but again, most doctors don't think hormones when they're thinking about stress. So it's very important to understand that you have a physician that knows what they're doing. It happens where they don't.
Yeah. And you can test hormones with blood. You can test hormones with urine. You can test hormones with saliva. There's so many different ways to test this. There's really no excuse not to have it tested.
You can spit in the urine, if you, no, don't do that. Other testing out there that's a really good one. Again, if you're thinking it is more mental, emotional, or neurological, test those neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters, we talked a lot about them during the segment last week, but neurotransmitters are the building block to your neurochemistry. So stuff like serotonin and dopamine, they control a lot of our calming, our relaxing, our energy, our focus. It's huge. And if that's part of the issue, you have to test those. And most doctors do not test them. Most doctors don't even believe in testing them. They'd rather put you on a drug without testing, which to me is insane.
It is. And a lot of people out there as in patients have no idea that you can even test neurotransmitters, that there is even a way to do that. And it's easy. You don't even have to get poked by a needle. You just urinate. It's a 24-hour urine collection.
Or spitting that urine all over again. No, don't do that.
Yeah. So this is valuable. And if you do need to use a pharmaceutical for a mental health condition, at least the neurotransmitter urine test can guide your doctor on which medication is best for you.
Yeah, and they also do genetic testing as well for for psychotropic type drugs like antidepressants, where you can actually see genetically if your body handles certain meds, even if they're in the same family of drugs like SSRIs for depression. Some of them might be good for you and some of them might not be good for you based on your genetics. So that's another marker that can be tested that can make world of difference if you're going to choose to go the route of the medication side.
Yeah. And if you get to a point in your treatment where your medication just isn't working as it used to, your symptoms have come back, then perhaps that neurotransmitter urine test should be redone to see what has changed and see perhaps you don't need the medication anymore. Perhaps you need a different medication.
Yeah. And testing your cortisol again, which is your stress hormone. If you're only measuring one marker of that when you should be testing throughout the day, you're not getting an accurate look at your cortisol, your stress hormone, and it could be affecting you in a negative way. So thanks for tuning into Your Health is Wealth. We are the doctors from Naturopathic Physicians Group located in Scottsdale, Arizona. After this quick break, we'll continue talking about stress management and we'll start talking about the treatments for it.
So what did the doctor say?
He said I might need surgery.
Wow, it's that serious.
Well, we won't know for sure until I talk with a surgeon, but I'm lost. This is all new to me.
The decision to have surgery isn't easy, but neither is living with pain.
There is an alternative to surgery. At the Naturopathic Physicians Group in Scottsdale, our doctors are experts in full spectrum care using a natural approach and can restore pain-free joint function so you can avoid surgery. Patients come in for a variety of issues, including joint pain, chronic conditions, and issues specific to men's and women's health. We also help restore balance in immune, digestive, and hormone systems, which often improves both immediate physical symptoms and also improves cognition and emotional stability. So when traditional medicine suggests you need surgery, how about taking another approach? Call Naturopathic Physicians Group at 480-451-6161. That's 480-451-6161. Or go to naturopathicgroup.com.
How would you like to make money from a bank instead of the bank making money from you? How can you do this? This is Ference, host of the Your Personal Bank Show. We have banks that fund ongoing annual premiums into your high cash value policy that is principal guaranteed. Why would they do this? Cash is an asset and can be used as collateral. When you earn more in dividends from your policy than the interest the bank charges, you keep the difference. The difference has averaged 2 to 5% annually in your favor for the past 40 plus years. When the funds are contributed from a bank, you leverage other people's money and multiply your returns. Your average rate of return can grow to strong double digits annually within a few years. This can be done income tax-free with guarantees and no downside market risk. Contact me at yourpersonalbank.com or 866-268-4422, 866-268-4422 for more information. Or tune in to the Your Personal Bank Show Tuesdays at noon.
Welcome back to Your Health is Wealth. We are live today and every Friday at 1 p.m. We discuss a different topic about natural remedies for your health every week. And today's topic is stress management.
Every single week, I do a segment called What Isn't Your Doctor Telling You? It's not an anti-doctor segment. It's just a segment where I can give a tidbit every single week that you can take with you for what it's worth. And since we're talking about stress management today, I kind of wanted to do a little fun one, only because it's, directly correlated to me. But let's talk about stress and hair.
Do you know? A good one. This is a good one.
This is a good one. Yeah. And it's totally accurate. If you're on YouTube, you can see all the gray and you can see all the empty. But basically, do you know stress causes your hair to turn gray? We've all heard that, but we really don't know why. So when you are stressed, those stem cells that you need in order to create the pigment of your hair gets affected. And then the neurotransmitter norepinephrine, which is adrenaline, which gets pumped up a lot when you're stressed because it puts your body in the fight or flight mechanism. That will basically get sent to those hair follicles, which then depletes the melanocytes, which is what actually colors your hair. So that's why when you're stressed, the more stressed you are, basically it puts your hair in fight or flight, and therefore the cells that turn your hair dark go away and you become gray.
Wow.
Kind of cool. So basically your hair goes into fight or flight mode, just like the rest of your body does. Now, on top of that, what about stress and hair loss? Now, when you have stress, it causes the hair follicles to skip one of those steps. So your body always sheds old hair and then puts in new hair. And in the phase where your hair is actively growing, it's called anagen. When you are under stress, your body skips that phase. Therefore, and up to 70% of your hair actually develops through this phase. So therefore, if you're skipping the phase of the actual hair growth, naturally, you're going to shed a lot of hair and you're not going to grow as much in. And that will trigger inflammation where those hair follicles are supposed to come out and essentially choke them off. Therefore, you're not going to grow more hair.
Man.
So you get this, no hair, and this, very gray.
Stress is terrible on a body.
Yeah.
Gosh.
That's why I try to be stress-free.
Yeah.
It's
ideal.
create as much stress for the people around me, but I'm stress-free. I'm just kidding. I don't do that. I try to make everybody's life easier.
So speaking of stress, let's go back to the cortisol check. Now, we will do a cortisol check on the annual blood work or even semi-annual, quarterly, whatnot, just as like a one-time check. It does give us a pretty good idea whether we need to investigate further into a saliva cortisol check, which tests it throughout the day, different times of the day. And the saliva is just more convenient because who wants to go back into their doctor 4 times in one day to get repoked to test their cortisol in their blood? So that's
I like needles and I wouldn't do it.
right. Yeah. So that cortisol check is it's a really valuable test and actually reasonably priced. So I would suggest that to anybody.
It can make world of difference for it.
Mhm.
I mean, I see patients all the time where they're taking something that says it's healthy for their adrenals, and then they're taking it the completely wrong time of the day because they don't know what the cortisol curve means and they don't understand. And in the grocery stores, if they're buying it, they just see all the things that say good for your energy or good for your adrenals. So they're like, oh, adrenal health. Well, but some adrenal healths are meant for night and some adrenal healths are meant for the day. But without testing it, you might not need the night one or the day one, and you're taking one that makes you backwards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Food sensitivity panel. That's something that I wish every person could do at least once in their life because it really is a great guide. And how is that important dealing with stress? Well, because 80% of our brain neurotransmitters are made in the gut. That's a big deal. So if you are feeling depressed, and your serotonin is low because you've done a neurotransmitter urine test, guess what? That serotonin is made in the gut. And so we need to heal the gut before we get more serotonin to your brain in order for you to feel happier.
And other things we've already talked about, comprehensive blood panels, making sure you're not deficient in nutrients that help you handle stress, such as vitamin D, B12, folic acid, your thyroid function. If your thyroid is not in check and not doing well, according to functional labs, not just your TSH like most doctors run, that could be causing part of your anxiety and stress, as well as toxic heavy metals. We talked a little bit last week, and we've done an entire episode that you can go search on our podcast, Your Health is Wealth, on the Apple and Google Play Store. You can listen to our old episodes. We did a whole episode on heavy metal testing and how it affects your whole entire system. So, I mean, they play a major role in stress management. So, on that note, let's start going into treatments. What can we do for stress management? Last week, we talked about drugs, which is the conventional medicines version. We like to talk about the non-drug versions, and let's do that.
Yeah. So naturopathic physicians have an advantage here. I feel like we have more tools in our tool bag to deal with stress management. And some of these things that we mentioned, you might be like, oh, that's too frou-frou for me. I'm not that fluffy, but just give it a shot. You won't know until you try. After you try, if you don't like it, okay.
I mean, I've always had the mindset that curiosity killed the Dr. Katz. And so from that standpoint, I mean, I've tried so many different alternative type healings out there, some that I would have looked at in the beginning as, I'm not so sure about that. And other ones where I'm like, oh, that should work. And sometimes it's really cool. And sometimes I'm like, no, I didn't get anything out of it. So ultimately there's healing. There's so many different kinds of healing out there that you really don't know until you try a lot of them. And what works for you might not work for someone else and vice versa. So
Meditation is fantastic. Now, I didn't quite understand meditation whenever I first started it. I thought I was supposed to like either hum or like follow a guide of music or whatnot. But someone had said at one point, it kind of stuck, meditation is the absence of thinking. And
I'm great at that. Yeah, I tried to think once and nothing happened.
oh my,
Old Three Stooges jokes. They still come out really well.
they're great. But if you are a beginner when it comes to meditation, my advice would be to follow a YouTube video. There are guided meditations on there for beginners. Every morning, you can just sit, pay attention to your breath, listen to your body, your thoughts, just for 5 minutes, because some people cannot sit there longer than 5 minutes, especially if they're just starting this. This is a good time for you to set your intention for the day and release those thoughts that no longer serve you.
Understand mindfulness. Now, to me, mindfulness is kind of like being in the moment. You can't control everything around you, even if we try. Half the reason why we put so much stress on ourselves is because we're constantly thinking about, what do I got to do in 2 hours? Or what do I have to do? What didn't I do 2 hours ago? And we actually put that stress on our system. We constantly put ourselves in that fight or flight mechanism. So understanding that you can't control every second of the day, not everything's going to be perfect at all times. If you put yourself into that mindful mode of saying, hey, I'm here, I'm now, I'm going to get done what I can get done right now and not think about, what didn't get done at that particular point. It will take down, they've done studies on this. It takes your stress down so much that the whole body inflammation goes down. So being in the moment will help you with illness. If you're chronically sick, because you're going to take down less inflammation, or you're going to take down the inflammation, it's just going to help you relax more.
That's awesome. I mean, when we were going over that list of what causes stress, and it was just basic life stuff like relationships and finances and work, perhaps if we try not to control everything so much all the time and what will happen in the future, because nobody can control that, and just be present in the moment and be mindful, I can totally see how that would, if you just flow like water, it will definitely help.
Totally.
Exercise is really great for stress management. Now, there's so many different recommendations for exercise, and honestly, you really have to just figure out what works for you. But as a basis, exercise for at least 30 to 45 minutes, 5 days a week is a general guideline. Now, you can incorporate different varieties of exercises. You don't have to just go to the gym every time, but you can do biking, you can do yoga, you can do that weightlifting, but swimming, find a Zumba class, pickleball, whatever it is.
Yeah, lifting a food from a fork to your mouth is not bicep curls. The idea is doing too much will put more stress on your body and you'll create more inflammation. It's about doing what your body can control and handle, and then you build on that. So you kind of start, if you're not a normal exercise person, you kind of start with a small amount, and then every week you add a little bit more to the regimen. You build that strength up. So many people try to jump right into like full-blown exercise, and then they're super sore the next day and they're like, I ain't doing this again because I hurt. Mm-hmm. No, you have to build into a regimen. Nobody starts from 0 to 60 on their first time and does it well.
I mean, honestly, if getting to the gym is what gets you at least to get on the treadmill, then just show up. Just you don't even have to have a plan if you're just having a hard time getting there. Just show up and something will happen.
So thanks again for tuning in to our weekly show, Your Health is Wealth, on Money Radio, 1510 AM, 105.3 FM. We are the doctors from Naturopathic Physicians Group. When we come back, we're going to continue part 2 of our stress management episodes and continue on the naturopathic healing methods for stress management.
Things may seem wrong, but soon it'll be all right now. J.D. Hayworth here. Join me weekday afternoons 3 to 5 on Money Radio.
I'm Neil Cavuto, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Big gains on Wall Street thanks to a somewhat lackluster jobs report. The Dow closing 450 points higher, NASDAQ jumping 315, the S&P 500 up 63 points. The Labor Department reported 175,000 new jobs hit the books last month, but the Fed could see a moderating jobs market as a sign their efforts to drive down inflation are working, prompting investors' hopes of an interest rate reduction this summer. Shares in Apple up nearly 6% after the company announced a $110 billion stock repurchase plan. The end of the pandemic has more people returning to traditional gyms. It's hurting Peloton. It's cutting 400 jobs globally, about 15% of its workforce. Peloton stock has lost about 90% of its value in the last 2 years, gaining about 9% today. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jack Callahan, invested in you.
Hi, I'm Ron Kraszewski, Chairman and CEO of Stifel. Financial advisors, let's face it, if you're not growing your practice, you're losing market share. Stifel is a growing, entrepreneurial, advisor-centric firm built for successful advisors like you. There's a reason why 148 financial advisors joined Stifel last year. Come join us and find out why Stifel is the firm where success meets success. Visit www.choosestifel.com.
Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC.
I'm Frank Miller with Your Money Now. Well, stocks finished the week on solid footing with the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P all posting strong gains. The NASDAQ and Dow seeing gains of several hundred points. Shares of Apple soaring today after the company announced a $110 billion stock buyback on Thursday. In today's economic news, the Labor Department said that employment was up less than expected last month. Non-payroll employment up only 175,000 jobs. That was largely due to a slowdown in the leisure and hospitality sectors. Meanwhile, the unemployment rate crept up to 3.9%. Elsewhere, the Institute for Supply Management said that service sector activity unexpectedly contracted in the month of April. Well, the number of households saying that inflation or high cost of living is their top financial problem is hitting record highs. Gallup's annual economy and personal finance poll says that 41% of households report those two items were among their top financial concerns. And oil prices fell today amid concerns over demand. WTI crude for June down 84 cents to $78.11 a barrel, oil having its worst week since February. That's Your Money Now.
This ad furnished by Nesmith Taiju LLC. Offer not valid in all states or prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came and we're maxed out.
Great. Maxed out cards, rent is due, bills are piling up. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
We should do what my brother did. He went to 27cash.com and got $3,000.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is different. They're one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000.
I'm sure there's a lot of paperwork.
Nope. My brother said it was fast and easy. He did it right from his phone.
If you have a regular source of income, you can be approved for a loan of up to $5,000 in minutes, and your cash can hit your bank account as soon as the next day. Our lenders have millions of dollars to lend regardless of your credit history.
Great news. I went to 27cash.com and we'll have our money as soon as tomorrow.
Wow, that is fast.
If you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
If you're still working, you're still making money. But what about retirement? Make sure you have reliable income then too. Keep listening to your Money Radio experts to find out how.
So what did the doctor say?
He said I might need surgery.
Wow, it's that serious.
Well, we won't know for sure until I talk with a surgeon, but I'm lost. This is all new to me.
The decision to have surgery isn't easy, but neither is living with pain.
There is an alternative to surgery. At the Naturopathic Physicians Group in Scottsdale, our doctors are experts in full-spectrum care using a natural approach and can restore pain-free joint function so you can avoid surgery. Patients come in for a variety of issues, including joint pain, chronic conditions, and issues specific to men's and women's health. We also help restore balance in immune, digestive, and hormone systems, which often improves both immediate physical symptoms and also improves cognition and emotional stability. So when traditional medicine suggests you need surgery, how about taking another approach? Call Naturopathic Physicians Group at 480-451-6161. That's 480-451-6161. Or go to naturopathicgroup.com.
How would you like to safely leverage bank money to earn double-digit returns, income tax-free, with guarantees and no downside market risk? How can you do this? This is Ference, host of the Your Personal Bank Show. 1. You fund a high cash value policy one time to earn dividends and interest. 2. Establish a bank line of credit using the cash in your policy as collateral. When you earn more in dividends from your policy than the interest the bank charges, you keep the difference. And the difference is averaged 2 to 5% annually in your favor for the past 40 plus years. 3. The bank funds contributions years 2 to 20 plus. Each year the bank adds funds, your rate of return increases. Your average rate of return can grow to strong double digits annually within a few years. Contact me at yourpersonalbank.com, yourpersonalbank.com, or 866-268-4422, 866-268-4422 for more info, or tune in to the Your Personal Bank show Tuesdays at noon.
And welcome back to our weekly show, Your Health is Wealth, on Money Radio 1510 AM, 105.3 FM. We are talking about stress management and naturopathic ways you can treat it.
Dr. Ryder here with your tip of the week. So last week, I spoke about the difference between high cortisol and low cortisol. And today I want to talk about how to manage that cortisol. So I'll share a few tips with you on how to keep your cortisol levels at optimal, consistent levels. Now, remember, cortisol is that stress hormone, and it's got to be the Goldilocks level. It has to be just right, not too high, not too low. So sleep, number one, make sleep a priority. Also, incorporate some sort of yoga, mindfulness, deep breathing, or meditation into your daily routine. This helps release tension and reduce stress. Diet is super important for maintaining optimal cortisol levels. You want nutrient-dense foods that help support overall hormone levels, including cortisol. And we talked about hormones earlier. Cortisol is in the hormone family. It interacts with all the other hormones. Physical activity. We also talked about exercise. That reduces stress. Hydration, drinking the right amount of water for you will help manage cortisol levels. Limit caffeine and sugar. I get it. It's tough, but you can do it. Too much of either can spike your cortisol levels. Remember to have fun.
So don't do this.
Yeah. Well, no, that's tea, isn't it?
Sure. We'll say.
Uh-oh.
I have like 1 cup a week. It's all good.
Uh-oh. Somebody told on themselves.
I told on myself, but 1 cup a week is not a big deal.
It's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
But most important, remember to have fun, laugh, connect with others, spend time in nature. That's really important. Fun, laughter.
As long as that's not like New York City. That's not nature.
Central Park would be an acceptable place if that's all you've got.
That's not nature.
Well,
you gotta run for your life.
In Central Park. Fun, laughter, and socializing are powerful stress relievers and can naturally reduce the cortisol. If you're an introvert, though, and spending time with people is just kind of stressful, then go out and spend time hiking or just being outdoors, especially in green spaces, can help manage your cortisol.
Thank you for those tidbits.
You're welcome.
It's a good idea. So, as you're kind of saying, daily self-care is huge. Whether you're journaling, taking a walk, reading a book, taking a bath, all of these, listening to music, that's one of my go-tos. I've got music playing all the time. To me, that's one of my ways to get out of the world's stressors and kind of puts me into the motion. Even if the music is like crazy loud or just like hard rock, it really doesn't even matter. It's because it's what I enjoy. So it produces that happy, feel-good neurotransmitter, and it puts me in my calming. Like when I've gone for certain treatments out there before, they laugh because they want to put meditation music on for me. And I'm like, no, that's going to make me more wired because I don't want that music. So I'll be doing relaxing stuff while I'm listening to Guns N' Roses or Metallica. But that makes me feel more kind of like, yeah, I love it. It's great. And it puts me into a calmer state.
You do you.
I do me.
There is a technique that I do at the office. It's called neuro-emotional technique. It is NET for short. So NET uses pressure points, muscle testing, monitors physiological reactions, and it helps me as a practitioner narrow down and pinpoint the exact cause of the negative emotion and determine where they first occurred. So NET can be used to release emotions that are stored in the body. They may even be manifesting as pain, some as tension or weakness. Contemporary neuroscience demonstrated that emotion and our stress responses are largely related to those physiological responses in our body. And it's super easy to find them. Really, you can do this in a 15-minute to 30-minute appointment in the office. It focuses on achieving homeostasis, which means that balance of the human organism. It's pretty awesome.
And that's something you do in the office.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's really kind of a cool technique because a lot of people have never thought of doing stuff like that, and it can do wonders for you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, therapy, counseling, I'm a huge proponent of therapy. We need people to talk to that are not our spouse or children or parents or best friend, where it's always going to be yes or no, or, it's the same. It doesn't mean you don't need that too. We need family care, but you need somebody who is not always going to tell you yes or no. But there's so many different types of therapy and counseling out there. So you need to find the one that's right for you, whether that be talking with a psychologist, whether that be, interpersonal therapy, cognitive therapy. I've personally done medical hypnosis for many years, and I've loved it. It's done wonders for me because I need to get into my subconscious, because that's where, all my fun and games seems to always happen. And when I get into my subconscious, I'm able to work through a lot of things, and it makes me feel better. So that's the type of therapy that worked really, really well for me. And even if you're thinking outside, like, that I can't go under hypnosis, you don't know. You really don't know until you try some of these things as well.
Mm-hmm. Can be a little scary to try something new, but hey, like we said before, you won't know until you try it. Breathing deeply sounds so simple, but honestly, if you pay attention, most of us are really shallow breathers. There's even apps out there that you can put on your phone that remind you to take deep breaths. And I think one of the apps might even be called Calm. I don't remember. But aim for 50 to 100 cleansing breaths throughout the day. Exhale longer to activate the parasympathetic, which is your rest and digest nervous system. Try this every hour of the day. It is really an effective way to relax your mind, and it also expels metabolic waste, which is a good thing.
Sweet. We love to remove that waste.
Right.
It's not always just about a bowel movement. Journaling, we talked a little bit about it again, but writing things down allows you to process things. So many times we are creatures of emotion, and we are acting on emotions. And I always tell people, if you're not sure about something, never answer it that second, because you're going to have an emotional response to it. And oftentimes those emotional responses are incorrect. Go home, write it down, think about it, process it before you make those decisions. Because so many times, look at Twitter. This is full of it. How many people have lost their jobs because of a tweet? How many people have lost their jobs because of a TikTok? When you're doing these things and you're emotional responding, you're more likely to do something you're going to regret. When you journal, when you write it down, when you sit down and think about it, you're way more likely to make a reasonable and responsible decision.
That's good advice.
Thanks.
Also, track your progress. So if this is good for anything, losing weight, mental health, food, like everything. So congratulate yourself on your accomplishments, basically, because you may be underestimating how far you have come if you have not tracked it, because we get really accustomed to how we are when we're in the moment and we think we're not making progress. But when you take a look back over your track, you'll be like, oh, wow, okay, this really is different. So take note also of where you veer off track so that you know what you did at that particular time isn't working for you.
Yeah, I mean, and you hit the nail on the head. Congratulate yourself. Take time and enjoy the moments that are successful for you. So many times we finish something, we do good, and then we're already moving on to the next thing. We don't take the time to enjoy the moment. Enjoy the moment. It's not a problem.
And this literally will take just a few minutes a day, like on one notebook. It's fine.
And so many people have heard of mind, body, spirit medicine, and nobody or very few people actually get into that spiritual realm. And I'm not saying go foo or crazy. It's more along the lines of that understanding your body has multiple segments out there. And if you don't tap into every level of healing, you might never get to that finish line of true peace. I mean, again, and we're actually going to be interviewing a shaman in a couple weeks on the show, and it might be something you've never thought about before, and we'll be able to interview and talk about, that type of healing that you might have never thought about before. I've gone to her, a couple times so far, and I mean, I feel great since I started doing it too. So again, outside the box thinking sometimes can do wonders for your overall health.
I'm excited for this interview. I'm looking forward to it.
We're also going to be bringing on a hypnotherapist to interview as well at the same exact day. So it's going to be kind of a cool day to learn about a couple things you might have never thought about when it comes to your healing.
I mean, basically engage all of your senses, dance, play, laugh, have fun, practice art. Who cares if it's good or not? It's an outlet for you. I just want to reiterate the importance and the actual effectiveness of fun and laughter and play as an adult.
Laughing is amazing. So many studies out there say laughing makes you feel better. Well, yeah, of course it does. If you're not laughing, you're not having fun. And if you're not having fun, you might not be having sex. And sex is another good thing that's also great for a stress release. How many people get in trouble because they're so frustrated without having an orgasm? And having that orgasm, many studies on that, release stress and makes you feel better.
I mean, it's a bodily function. Stay tuned.
Don't keep it bottled.
Right. Good advice. We'll be right back talking more about naturopathic treatments.
So what did the doctor say?
He said I might need surgery.
Wow, it's that serious.
Well, we won't know for sure until I talk with a surgeon, but I'm lost. This is all new to me.
The decision to have surgery isn't easy, but neither is living with pain.
There is an alternative to surgery. At the Naturopathic Physicians Group in Scottsdale, our doctors are experts in full spectrum care using a natural approach and can restore pain-free joint function so you can avoid surgery. Patients come in for a variety of issues, including joint pain, chronic conditions, and issues specific to men's and women's health. We also help restore balance in immune, digestive, and hormone systems, which often improves both immediate physical symptoms and also improves cognition and emotional stability. So when traditional medicine suggests you need surgery, how about taking another approach? Call Naturopathic Physicians Group at 480-451-6161. That's 480-451-6161. Or go to naturopathicgroup.com.
Technology helps keep everyone comfortable with a smart thermostat.
Turn temperature down.
Temperature down.
Turn temperature up.
Temperature up. But to keep everyone on your team working comfortably, you need more than technology. You need CDW to custom configure Dell Client Solutions devices. Adaptive AI-based software creates a personalized user experience and boosts collaboration so they can stay cool and collected.
Temperature down.
Temperature up.
I'm staying out of this. Dell Client Solutions make adaptive performance possible. CDW makes it powerful. Learn more at cdw.com/Dell Client.
Tired of that same old spin on Washington? You want the truth? Then listen to All Right Now with me, J.D. Hayworth, every weekday 3 to 5 p.m. right here on Money Radio. I'll give it to you straight. I've represented you in Washington, and I've lived to tell some tales. You can get involved. Call in, text our show, and you know you'll get it right. It's All Right Now, every weekday 3 to 5 right here on Money Radio.
Welcome back to Your Health is Wealth. I'm Dr. Lorena Ryder alongside my co-host, Dr. Stephen Katz. We are here today and every Friday to discuss different topics on health and natural ways to treat them. And today we are talking about stress management.
So with stress, since we're talking about supplements and other treatments out there, we always tell people we're not telling you to start or stop any treatment out there. We're just giving you the information based on the research and based on things we've used with our patients. And you can take it with your doctor and discuss and decide if it's right for you. But most of the things we talk about on here are clinically practiced with our patients, but always as an individual because we treat our patients as individuals. So again, we always talk about food. Again, if you ever run that food panel, because it controls so much of how our bodies deal with inflammation, you have to follow it. If you're eating like crap, you're going to feel like crap. And that includes not just the digestive tract, that includes the brain.
Mm-hmm. So we talked about food earlier, and I feel like we say it every week, but let's talk about stress reducing foods to consume. Now, most people are going to really love this. Dark chocolate.
Eat that chocolate.
This is linked to improving mood when consumed in moderation. I mean, yeah, that's what people report. I'm stressed, so I eat the chocolate. It makes me feel better. But it does have polyphenols, flavonols, and they can improve mood and lower blood pressure. So it makes scientific sense.
Yeah, the main thing is when we say dark chocolate, we mean chocolate, not all the crap they put with the chocolate. So if your chocolate is Butterfinger bar or Hershey's, you're not eating you're not eating just the chocolate. You're eating the sugar, you're eating all the other stuff, which will not help. It's going to negate all the benefits of that dark chocolate. But avocado is huge in MUFAs. Now, monounsaturated fatty acids, it's full of stuff that's great for whole body health, your eyes, your skin, it's just your brain. It's just so good for you. It's just a powerhouse of nutrients, a great quality fat. I mean, there's very few things in the world that are healthier than an avocado.
Berries, I would consider them, so if somebody says, I just like a sweet at the end of the night, and they're grabbing a cookie or a cake or something like that, I will tell them, go grab berries or some sort of fruit, apple, banana, orange, because berries are really nature's candy. They're full of antioxidants, vitamins. They reduce that free radical damage that's in the body. Vitamin C, which is high in berries, has been known to lower blood pressure and cortisol.
And the body doesn't care the difference between, it wants sweet. The craving is for sweet. So eating a berry, which is healthy for you, versus eating the cookie or sugar is a game changer when it comes to health, because those cravings will go down with the sugar as well, with the berries, and every bit the same as the cookie without all of the inflammation that came from that cookie. And cashews also are a great healthy fat, great healthy protein. It also has zinc, which has been shown to help with depression and anxiety as well. So those are definitely the stress reducing foods that a lot of people do well with. On the other hand, I'm allergic to cashews, so I can't do that one. So I just must be stressed forever and ever. I'm just kidding. Or I'll just eat more chocolate.
There you go.
But the stress increasing foods, sugar, always puts your body into a stress, always inflames the system, toxic to your brain, feeds every pathogen. There's no other worse food out there other than sugar.
Artificial sweeteners also are toxic to your brain. If you think that you're doing a good thing by using Splenda or whatever the other ones
you're not.
Yeah, you're just, honestly, you're better off using raw organic honey, stevia, monk fruit, xylitol, any of the plant-based non-sugar sweeteners instead of an artificial sweetener.
Yeah, artificial, some are linked to cancers. A lot of them are neurotoxins. They're just bad, and they're on almost every single restaurant. It's just sad. Gluten is one of the most toxic foods. There's not a single person in the world, none, where they have to eat gluten to survive. So from that standpoint, get rid of the gluten. You'll feel better from it. Even if you don't test the foods, even if they're not allergic to gluten, I tell them to stop it anyway, because it's still toxic. And if you have thyroid issues out there, which is one of the most common conditions out there, and we see tons of patients with thyroid issues, gluten is like poison to the thyroid. And your endocrinologist probably never told you that.
Yeah, boy, people really push back whenever you tell them to give up gluten. It's tough for some people to do.
Tough, but worth it.
Let's talk about some supplements. Now, remember that we never tell you to start or stop a supplement or a medication. These are what we've found as physicians to help with stress management. B6 or pyridoxine or P5P is an activated B6 supplement. It is used in the brain, so will help improve those neurotransmitters that we talked about earlier, can help reduce anxiety and depression. Most B vitamins are taken in the morning because they give you energy, but B6 is best taken at nighttime because it's one of the Bs that has a calming effect.
Yeah, because it also works synergistically with melatonin, which is your sleep neurotransmitter. So again, most of the time that would be one you can take at night. GABA is an inhibitory neurotransmitter. So what that means is it's going to basically block out any of the excess adrenaline in the system. So it's going to shut down that adrenaline. So it'll help your body calm down and relax. Now, this is when I tell people to be very careful without testing those neurotransmitters, because you can also lower your dopamine levels, which is your happy, feel-good neurotransmitter. So you don't want to do that. A lot of the drugs out there they use for anxiety and stress go through that that GABA pathway. So be careful with this one.
L-theanine is really great. It is an extract found in green tea, but really just drinking green tea is not going to give you the concentration of this. It's also found in black tea, but still you're not going to get enough. L-theanine is really great for the people who have that overactive mind. They've got racing thoughts, especially when you've laid down, you're trying to get ready for bed, and you're thinking about your to-do list or whatever upset you that day. L-theanine is really good for promoting relaxation, drowsiness, and even focus.
St. John's wort we've talked about on a few different episodes, but St. John's wort is a plant that basically works similar to an SSRI. So the drugs like Zoloft and Prozac got their origin from this plant. So St. John's wort is used for depression and calming anxiety because it induces that serotonin response. The problem with this one, though, is the drugs came from this one. So you do want to be careful with this one, too, because it has a lot of similar side effects as a lot of those SSRIs like Prozac. And not everybody's issue is serotonin. So taking this one can cause an opposite effect if you are not testing for those neurotransmitters.
Adrenal glandulars are a supplement that I tend to use a lot because I see primarily women who are exhausted either from being a mom or they're going through menopause. So this is best when cortisols are low. You don't want to take adrenal glandulars if you are a vegan or vegetarian because they do contain animal parts. But this helps increase that cortisol, give you drive, focus, and help remove that anxiety that you might be feeling.
And one of the ones we love a lot, chamomile, because it's calming and it's relaxing, and you can get it in tea because it's a flower and it's relaxing. It's a good herb that just doesn't make you tired, but it can help you sleep. It just calms that mind. We love that one.
And it's easy to get in teas too.
And they've done studies that it helps with general anxiety disorder as well. So again, it doesn't mean it's going to fix your anxiety. It doesn't get rid of all the stress, but it helps you handle.
Tyrosine, L-tyrosine is really great. It's an essential amino acid that converts into tyrosine, which converts into dopamine. Dopamine is that feel-good chemical, one of the brain neurotransmitters we need.
So this is one where people need a little bit of help with energy. If you're already wired with your stress hormone, tyrosine would not be the one to jump into because it'll just make you more wired because it'll induce more adrenaline, which is not what you need if you're feeling, that kind of stress. And then 5-HTP, much like the St. John's wort, in a sense, it stimulates a serotonin response. So if serotonin is not your problem, without testing it, you don't know, this would be one to be careful with as well.
Vitamin D, believe it or not, is utilized in the brain by the tryptophan and the tyrosine pathways. Vitamin D is really important for those brain neurotransmitters. Most people underestimate this. Vitamin D can work as a vitamin or even a hormone, just FYI.
Omega-3 fatty acids, fish oil, flaxseed, or chia seeds. These omega-3s are anti-inflammatory, but when you get into the DHA and the EPA components of them, they're super protective to the brain, and they help the brain handle a lot more than the typical day just by helping with the overall body inflammation.
And at Naturopathic Physicians Group, we actually have a neurological IV infusion that you might want to check out that can help build up that brain chemistry.
And we base those infusions on you individual, on whatever neurotransmitter we need to help with. We put those nutrients to help. So very individualized, can do wonders for your anxiety and stress. So thanks for joining us this week. We'll be back next week with another live episode. Have a good week.
Thanks for listening to Your Health is Wealth. Be sure to tune in next week to learn